Now, here's the scenario, what's expected over the next few days. Today, the body shop will close down. That's the first step in the car assembly process. And 500 workers will go home for the last time later this afternoon and tonight. Tomorrow, some more operations will shut down. And finally, on Wednesday night, about 8 o'clock p.m., the last Camaro and Firebirds will roll off the assembly line, the last of the 4,000 workers going home. Now, as we said, it's a very sad day here. Some of these workers here 20 or 30 years seeing their plant finally shutting down.
On August 26, 1987, GM Assembly Norwood, or CPC Norwood as it had been called since the early 1980s, produced its very last car, a red Chevrolet Camaro IROC Z. This was a special car, not just for being the last car produced at the birthplace of the F-body, but also because it was the first car raffled off to an employee when a GM plant closed.
Okay, here is the winning ticket number, 4160.
Dan Edwards, an employee at Norwood, shot footage from inside the plant the last day and captured history as the first employee raffle was held for an end-of-line production car before closing a GM assembly plant, a tradition that continued within GM for decades to come.
General Motors had talked to the city about possibly closing the plant within a year or two. And I think it was the year 1988 that they had scheduled to shut the plant. And here they pulled it forward to 1987, August of 1987. We had no experience in closing plants. We had experience in opening plants and building new plants, but nobody had experience in closing a plant.
I remember getting out of that car, and there's a big crowd of people, maybe 80, 100 people. They were clapping and screaming, and I'm thinking, these people not know that they're losing their job?
They're going to lead the parade and the rest of the...
Fearing a total walk-off on the last day of production, GM management decided to raffle the last car off to a GM employee in an effort to keep morale high and give something back to the workforce that kept Norwood producing cars for over 60 years.
We are still going to show everyone we do care at Norwood. We will build the best quality job up to the day the doors close.
They really thought that there'd either be strikes or damage, or people would, do just the opposite. And you know what? When they ran that plant as good as any plant in this country, all the way through to the closing. And to me, that's pride.
This was the scene last night as the final car ever built at GM Norwood rolled off the line, 64 years after the first car had been built here. These pictures were taken by a Norwood employee with a home video camera, the news media not allowed in. Today, that last car, a $22,000 Camaro, was at a Milford dealership where it was given to Wendell Spurlock, one of the laid-off GM workers. Spurlock, a 19-year Norwood veteran, had won the car free of charge in a raffle for Norwood plant workers.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you rather have your job back than this car?
Yes. That way I can see all the people back happy.
The IROC Z eventually changed hands and was sold into obscurity. A decade later, after the release of Phil Boris's book, Echoes of Norwood, which highlighted this special car, a flurry of activity erupted from Camaro fans online to find this special car. Mr. Boris joined the search as well, and his efforts proved fruitful. After an exhaustive search and a trip to the Kentucky State Penitentiary, where he was able to speak with the IROC's incarcerated former owner, he found this special car tucked away in storage, minus an engine. Further investigation revealed its whereabouts. A preacher had bought the motor years earlier to power his church's bus. Once Mr. Boris negotiated separate deals on the car and its power plant, he had all the pieces necessary to begin restoring this piece of history.
305, two-port injection, automatic transmission, gray custom cloth interior, premium cloth accents on the inside, a red Camaro IROC Z. Won by a plant employee, Wendell Spurlock, a 20-year veteran of the plant. The car had, to quote Wendell, all the bells and the whistles. And General Motors gave it to him for free. It started a storied tradition within General Motors of giving away a car whenever one of their principal old line plants closed. A tradition that remained all through the 80s and into the 90s. But this was the car that started
Mr. Boris
It's now under
unveiled
restoration.
Mr. Boris unveiled the Camaro at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals in 2017, 30 years after it had originally rolled off the Norwood line. It was displayed in a unique way, commemorating the roll test, the last quality checkpoint at the plant, before driving through its doors, making its place in history as the last car produced at Norwood. The legacy of the Norwood plant is embodied in part by this special car and will now live on in its restored status as a symbol of all that Norwood built in its 64-year history.